Hi, I'm Reed. This is Crowline Publishing. Let's talk one-on-one gaming. So you're Batman, or you're Huntress, or you're Black Canary, or you're Wolverine, or you're Moon Knight, or you're Daredevil, and you're down at the docks getting info out of Ninja Scum to find where your arch-villain is. Maybe you're Daryl Zero, or Sherlock Holmes, and you are hunting down the madman who has brought the city into ruins in his grip of terror. Maybe you are Mara of the Acoma, a grand politician sorting out all the factions, and you alone are the one who can make sense of it all and solve this political crisis. Or you're Solomon Kane, deep in Africa dealing with the witchmen and the devils. Or maybe you're a Space Marine Terminator, really powerful, trapped behind enemy lines while chaos closes in. Or you are Darth Vader, stalking away through a rebel base, slashing and killing as you go. Or maybe you are Superman, dealing with the meteorite and Brainiac's hordes, and only you can save the day. Or maybe you are the last hunter in a city of werewolves and zombies, and you alone can sort out the horrible plague. Or you're an undead knight trying to burn the fires to return life to the world again. Or maybe you are the last person on Earth as the zombie hordes roll in. This is the kind of gaming that you can do one-on-one. Flatmates, romantic partners, kids, parents, whatever. This is a video about the kinds of games that you can do one-on-one with very small groups. Now, I already did a video on remote gaming, and I am having some troubles making it work myself, to tell you the truth, but I have had a lot of success with just one-on-one Skype gaming, just doing scenes, little one-off adventures with people. And I generally don't do it very often. I don't think it's necessarily the best way to run an RPG. But, I mean, we've all taken guys into the next room and done a quick scene when they're separated from everybody else. Sometimes you might do a little origin story, a little half-an-hour scenario with someone so that they know where they fit into the campaign. Honestly, this is just an extension of that. It's not a big deal. So firstly, if the person that you're going to do this one-on-one campaign with is going to play in your existing campaign and play their existing character within that campaign, it's not always the best idea. If for nothing else, then eventually we're all going to get back together to our regular campaigns, and if you're all level 5 and this dude's suddenly level 10, that's going to be a problem. And the only real way to get around that is to suspend XP and to suspend treasure. And I mean, how fun is that? You know, no one likes to have all their stuff taken away. So unless you're going to say this is non-canonical or a prequel or something like that, don't do it. It's just not a good idea to give players free stuff that nobody else has access to. Also, it just doesn't look good if your husband has come in and he's much more powerful than everybody else, so your best mate has a +7 sword where everyone else has a +1 toothpick. Just don't do it. There's another reason to stay out of your existing campaign, and it's because you have a unique opportunity in front of you, and that is to customize a campaign, a world, an ongoing adventure to one. Now, a game like this, you can build it entirely to that person's tastes. And you can even ask them, you can sit down and interview them. What kind of tone would you like? Do you want it to be funny, serious, playful? Can it be sexy, grim? Should it be a fantasy game, a science fiction game, a horror game? Are there kinds of tropes that you might like to encounter? Getting betrayed? Do you want to be a lone dark superhero? Are you a lost traveler? Are you an exiled princess? Do you want to be in a fairy tale? And also, this is a fine opportunity for you as a player to get characters out of your head that you might not ever get a chance to play. If you ever wanted to get that special snowflake queen of the vampires, yep. A dragon? Go for it. Batman, actual Batman, totes. Half unicorn, half demon, dream mage, champion of the goddess of sugar? Now is the time. Now, one of the first things I've noted about doing these sorts of one-on-one games is that they are more intense, especially if you're doing a vampire game with sexuality and sensuality and themes of prey and terror, or horror games, or sad games about surviving. It can be quite a powerful and emotionally engaging scene. Now, that's an advantage, but you need to be aware of your players. And you need to be aware that there's no goofing around, there's no Simpsons quoting, there's not a team of people on the player's side. So scary bits and gross bits, you can't sort of laugh them off the way that you might in a group. So just, if you're using intense imagery, if you're going to be, you know, full on in an artistic narrative DM, it's a different experience than if you're doing it in a group of people. So just be aware of that and keep your seatbelt on. Now, even if you are an improvisational DM, even if you mainly like to play it all by ear, I would highly recommend in one-on-ones, take notes, have some adventures prepared. If you have suddenly 3 or 4 or 6 less voices in the room, You will be surprised by how little there is to play off and how much you actually unconsciously play off other people's ideas and players' input into the game. So that's gone. Be aware of that. So it's a good idea to have in front of you even something as simple as a flowchart about what should happen next in the scene. Now, as a DM, especially with D&D, but any kind of GM should be aware, it is teamwork that makes the dream work. That simple co-mode skirmisher, supported by archers, that's very, very easy for a party to deal with, but they can pop off a lone PC real quick. Ranged PCs, melee PCs, doesn't matter. You have a problem if you are by yourself, because the action economy is all out of goose. Be aware that players are simply just going to lack options and solutions to a lot of problems in combat. Now, obviously there's no hard and fast rule for this, especially in more narrative games, but if you are going to use an existing D&D module, an existing WOTC module, it should be 4 levels below your player level. And speaking now even mainly as a theatre of the mind kind of a guy, when you're setting up the battle map with all the little miniatures and your lone PC, it is much more like a war game. It's really fun, but you should just be aware that it's going to play out much more tactically and much more like a game of Necromunda or something. A lot of the times though, even in combat, you'll find yourself getting pretty fast and loose with the rules. And you might even find yourself just dropping them entirely or just doing a kind of random D20. Yeah, that looks good. Just go with it. Diceless RPG is very hard to pull off, especially if you're new to it, especially if you're in a group that isn't excited about it. So this might be an unusual opportunity for you as a DM and for you as a player to really try diceless gaming. And if you like narrative games, ultimately, you're probably heading towards some kind of dicelessness anyway. And it can be hard to engage with rules for a long period of time. It's hard to keep up the mood for a long period of time. And I found that a lot of the times, one-on-one games become more just improv acting exercises than anything else. And if you're going to push for more than about 3 hours, it's probably going to happen. So if that's just not what you were going for, cut it off at 3 hours. Just have a time limit. Final bit of practical advice. You would be surprised by how much ground a single person can cover. You would be surprised by how quickly they can go through your adventure. If people aren't taking 20 minutes out to discuss a plan, if there's no Monty Python quoting, if you're not breaking for pizza, if people aren't going out for a smoke, if you don't have to do one-on-one little quick asides with people, one person can go very, very quickly through your module, through your adventure. So that's another reason that I say take some notes, even if you're not normally a note-taking DM. You will be surprised by the speed that players can consume your content. Now, I'm not saying that one-on-one gaming is going to be for everybody. It might be too intense, it might be a bit strange. I have, however, been having some success doing it on Skype. Playing a Batman campaign at the moment, loads of fun, plus I get to try out my Joker voice and go in front of the Skype camera. It is a way for you to experiment in a very low-stakes fashion. It is a great way for you to maybe invite a partner in who's not been interested. It is a great way to cut out 3 hours in the middle of your night without watching just another bloody series of binge-watching Netflix. It is a great way to introduce a kid who might want to play in a more formal, structured environment. And I think that most importantly, narratively speaking, they're extremely rewarding when you're able to tailor something for one person specifically and to have this rather intense storytelling experience when someone says, here's what I like, and you try to write for an audience of one. So give them a go. What have you got to lose? I'm Reed, this is Crowland. Please do give us a like and tell your friends. My views have been terrible recently. Alright, see you next time. Good luck everyone. Bye bye.